many cultures with beliefs that differ from those of most of us. But there is one place in the world where a custom makes many people's hair stand on end. An ancient practice in which living people can marry deceased individuals. Taiwan, a country with an eccentric relationship with the afterlife, also has funerals where floats are hired, similar to those used in Brazilian carnivals, on which women in provocative clothing dance to liven up the procession, and others where, next to the coffin of the deceased, a small paper coffin with a straw figure is placed to prevent another family member from dying soon. Probably due to beliefs such as these, this country has a month known as the Month of Hungry Ghosts, 30 days in which the Taiwanese believe that the underworld opens and thousands of spirits return, which is why there are rules such as not swimming, not moving, or not getting married, so as not to attract them into their lives. It is such an extraordinary place that it is recognized as one of the most seismic territories on the planet, and is the nation with the most temples per square meter and the most motorcycles per person in the world. A nation so eccentric that it has villages rescued by cats, vending machines capable of dispensing live shrimp or women's underwear, themed cafes where you can drink coffee while immersed in a jacuzzi, or have your feet nibbled by hundreds of fish. It is the only country where mermaids are trained. It has temples where the gods respond to the living, and others that can be visited by motorcyclists without getting off their bikes. Pay attention, and don't miss this new video from Uncensored World to discover these and many other curiosities that make Taiwan one of the most amazing countries on the planet. Let's get started. In the vast and enigmatic Asian continent, immersed in a region where the waters of the Pacific Ocean crash against coastlines steeped in history, lies Taiwan, a mountainous island located just over 180 kilometers southeast of China. Despite its relatively small size, this territory is a vibrant and surprising universe, a jewel of East Asia that you may never have imagined visiting. Until now. And we are sure it will surprise you. With an area similar to that of Catalonia and comparable to the state of Maryland in the United States, or half the territory of El Salvador, the island is home to more than 23 million inhabitants, making it one of the most densely populated places on the planet. Its cities are bursting with life. Endless seas of motorcycles, illuminated temples, night markets, and skyscrapers that seem to defy the sky. But just a few steps away from the hustle and bustle, mountains over 3,000 meters high, primitive forests and cliffs that plunge into a deep and wild sea emerge. Few places concentrate so much energy in such a small space, energy and realities that have a lot to do with how incredibly curious Taiwan is. Surely you, like so many other people, have wondered at some point, is Taiwan really a country? The answer, as you will now see, is not so simple. For millions of Taiwanese and for their own government, their flag, their constitution, and their army. Yes, Taiwan functions as a fully independent country, with democracy, elections, its own currency, and well-defined borders. However, the international reality is much more complicated. China considers Taiwan to be part of its territory, a province that sooner or later must be reunified. And this interest is no coincidence. In Beijing's eyes, Taiwan is a strategic jewel, a region full of technological, cultural, and natural riches, many of whose secrets and curiosities you will discover on this trip. That is why China is constantly trying to increase its influence and reclaim the island, pushing to annex it. But it's not that simple. Taiwan is a strong democracy with its own identity, with a people who deeply value their freedom and live under never-ending geopolitical tension. Because of this conflict, most nations in the world cannot officially recognize Taiwan as a sovereign country, even though they maintain extremely close economic, cultural, and technological relations with it. It's a diplomatic balance that is as fragile as it is fascinating. The result is a paradox unique on the planet. Taiwan lives as a country, governs itself as a country, and feels like a country, but officially, many governments cannot call it that. a singular situation that makes the island one of the most interesting destinations for understanding Asia, global politics, and the history of a people who, despite external pressures, continue to proudly defend their way of life. But beyond any geopolitical debate, what you will discover on this trip is a territory full of mysteries, ancestral rituals, temples that speak to the faithful, futuristic cities, sacred mountains, and curiosities that you will probably not find anywhere else in the world. Get ready, because Taiwan will not only surprise you, it will take your breath away. In ancient times, Taiwan was mainly an archipelago of coastal villages and fishing communities. Its population consisted mainly of indigenous peoples engaged in hunting, fishing, and subsistence agriculture, far from the large urban centers. Its name in the West was even Ilha Formosa, the beautiful island, as Portuguese sailors called it when they first sighted it. The transformation began when Europeans arrived in the 17th century. The Dutch and Spanish established trading posts on the island to trade sugar, rice, and deer ivory. At that time, the Dutch founded a fort in what is now Tainan, in a territory they called Taiwan, a Dutch adaptation of an indigenous term used by the Austronesian peoples of the area to refer to the land where the local people lived. That name, which originally simply described a region inhabited by a native group, gradually spread to encompass the entire island, and over time it evolved phonetically to become the Taiwan that is used today. Years later, under the Qing dynasty and then under Japanese rule, the island was modernized. Railways, electricity grids, export industry. During the period of Japanese rule, Taiwan ceased to be simply a fishing island and became a model agricultural and industrial colony. After World War II, Taiwan experienced what is known as the Taiwanese miracle, a process of industrialization so rapid that it completely transformed the island. The reason is fascinating. During the post-war years, the Taiwanese government promoted a very ambitious strategy based on technical education, attracting talent, creating technology parks, and collaborating with the United States. This created a solid base of highly qualified engineers who, over time, attracted international electronics giants, companies looking for a stable environment, a highly trained workforce, and a strategic location in Asia, chose Taiwan as the ideal place to manufacture everything from radios and calculators to essential computer parts. But the turning point came with the emergence of companies that are now true global legends. The most important is Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, considered the largest microchip manufacturer on the planet. This company not only turned Taiwan into the technological heart of the world, but also manufactures the chips used in most mobile phones, computers, cars, satellites, video game consoles, and virtually any modern device. Many of the screens, memories, and components we use every day were born here, or are still produced on this small but gigantic technological island. For all these reasons, in just a few decades, Taiwan went from being an island of indigenous peoples and fishermen to one of the fundamental pillars of global technology, a metamorphosis that very few countries have achieved in such a short time. Thinking about its origins and everything it is today, there is one detail that many people are unaware of. Taiwan lies right in the heart of one of the most active tectonic zones in the world. Here, two geological giants collide relentlessly. On one side, the Eurasian plate, which advances slowly from the west, and on the other, the Philippine Sea Plate, which pushes with enormous force from the east. This titanic collision not only shakes the island, but also creates it. It is on this collision line that Taiwan is born, rises, and transforms without pause, as if the planet itself were sculpting it day after day. A collision so powerful that it has shaped entire mountain ranges, carving valleys and cliffs that seem to have just emerged from the birth of the world. This extreme geology has not only sculpted mountains and cliffs, but has also profoundly influenced the thinking and beliefs of its inhabitants. In a land where the earth trembles frequently, it is not surprising that rituals have emerged to protect against the afterlife. temples to pray for stability, and countless stories where spirits and ghosts play a leading role. Despite its lush appearance, Taiwan has very little habitable land. Much of its surface is dominated by young mountains that rise abruptly from the sea, steep slopes, deep valleys, and dense forests that cover almost the entire island. Only a relatively narrow strip, located in the coastal areas and western plains, offers real space for building cities. This combination of extreme geology and limited territory has made developable land a resource as valuable as it is scarce. With so little land available, Taiwanese architecture has been forced to adapt. Many cities grow upwards, as if trying to escape the restless ground. This verticality is somewhat reminiscent of what happens in neighboring Hong Kong, where lack of space has led thousands of people to live in the well-known cage homes, an extreme phenomenon that we have a full documentary about on this channel, which you can watch at the end of this trip through Taiwan. For all these reasons here too, thousands of people live in small units, known as micro-apartments, tiny spaces where every square foot counts. There are entire families who share homes of barely 15 square meters, places where a fold-down bed serves as a living room, where the dining table is hidden under a shelf, and where the washing machine shares space with the shower and toilet in the same corner. These compressed homes are not a rarity in Taiwan, but the direct result of a deep-rooted problem: the extremely high price of housing. The reason is both simple and complex. With so little land available and demand continuing to grow, the price per square meter has skyrocketed over decades. Young people in large cities, especially in Taipei, are forced to rent rooms as small as a Western bedroom, while others opt for mini studios that, although modern and very functional, are the size of a garage. In some areas of Taiwan, the real estate market reaches truly staggering figures. In the capital, in the most sought-after part of the city, each square meter of residential housing can cost around $17,500, which means that a micro-apartment of just 15 square meters could reach a value of close to $250,000. And renting is not easy either. For a small studio or micro-apartment of less than 15 square meters, monthly prices can exceed $1,200, making it a very high financial burden for students, young professionals, or families on tight incomes. Much of the problem is due to the extremely high population density, a constant pressure that makes necessity turn prices that would be unthinkable anywhere else into acceptable ones. This human concentration is also reflected in its streets, where motorcycles are an essential part of the urban landscape. It is estimated that there are more than 14 million motorcycles on the island, an astonishing figure for such a small territory, making Taiwan the place with the highest number of motorcycles per capita on the planet. In its cities, entire streets become rivers of scooters moving like a living organism. The roar of engines, the smell of incense from temples, and the hustle and bustle of markets create a unique symphony that defines urban life on the island. And if there is one thing that surprises any traveler, it is the number of temples. There are so many that sometimes it seems as if every neighborhood has a hidden sanctuary, illuminated by red lanterns and crowned by carved dragons on the roofs. It is estimated that there are more than 15,000 temples in Taiwan, making the island one of the territories, and for many the country, with the highest density of temples per square meter in the world. A veritable religious constellation spread across the entire geography. Among these spiritual gems, one particularly curious temple stands out: the Zhenlin Temple in the town of Dajia. This sanctuary has a narrow tunnel through which motorcyclists can enter without getting off their bikes to receive a quick blessing before continuing on their way. It is a gesture as unusual as it is revealing, showing how the sacred and the everyday merge effortlessly at the heart of Taiwanese culture. It is a place where two unique realities of the country converge. It is one of the territories with the most motorcycles per person, and at the same time, one of the countries with the most temples per square mile in the world. But if there is one temple in Taiwan that many consider especially sacred, it is one where the gods answer your questions directly. This place is known as Longshan Temple in Taipei, one of the most revered spiritual centers in the country. Thousands of people flock to this sacred place every day to ask for guidance, resolve doubts in their hearts, consult their fortune, or simply seek a ray of clarity amid the chaos of modern life. This sanctuary is home to one of the most surprising and characteristic rituals of Taiwanese spirituality: divine consultation using wooden pieces known as jiaobei. Jiaobei are small curved wooden blocks that are thrown on the ground in front of the altar, and according to the beliefs of the faithful, allow the god to respond with absolute clarity. If one piece falls on one side and the other on the opposite side, the answer is yes. If both fall on the same side, the answer is no. And if they fall irregularly, the message is a kind of warning: ask again, as if the deity considered your question unclear or even unnecessary. This method of direct communication with the gods is a tradition unique in the world, very present in Taiwan and only shared with some regions of southern China. What is extraordinary is that here it is part of everyday life. From students anxious about exams to couples seeking answers about their future, everyone throws the jiaobei in the hope of receiving a sign. And in temples like Longshan, where incense rises like sacred mist and bells echo among centuries-old columns, this act takes on an intensity that deeply marks those who experience it. A deeply human reality, that of the living, which in Taiwan is intertwined with the afterlife like almost nowhere else in the world. This connection between the two planes is so intense that the country dedicates an entire period of the year to literally living with the spirits, a time when the boundaries between the earthly and the supernatural seem to fade away, a period known as the month of the hungry ghosts. A surprising reality that you are now discovering with us, and which is part of this unique way of exploring the world with us. So, if you are enjoying this journey and want to continue discovering extraordinary places like this, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to Uncensored World if you haven't already. As you can see, here you discover the world like nowhere else. Thank you. The origin of Hungry Ghost Month dates back to ancient Buddhist and Taoist beliefs, which state that once a year, the gates of the underworld open and spirits can return to the world of the living. These are not only benevolent ancestors, but often lost, forgotten, or hungry souls who wander in search of attention, offerings, and above all, respect. For this reason, for many Taiwanese, this month is a reminder that the invisible world is very present, and that these spirits may be hungry, or in other words, in need of attention from the living. For these reasons, during this period, the streets are filled with small improvised altars. In front of shops, buildings, markets, and houses, tables are set up with fruit, sweets, rice, tea, and hot dishes. These gifts are intended to appease the wandering spirits seeking food. Candles and incense burn day and night, forming an aromatic blanket that permeates neighborhoods as a sign of welcome, but also of caution. The most curious thing is the taboos that are strictly followed during this month, as respect and often fear exists among the inhabitants of this country. In Taiwan, there is a strong belief that certain activities can dangerously attract hungry spirits. One of the best known is not swimming, as it is said that water ghosts may try to take the living away to replace their place in the afterlife. Beaches and swimming pools are also empty during this month, as if an invisible shadow were watching over them. People also avoid getting married during this period, because a wedding during this month could attract the envy or interference of a lonely spirit. The idea that a ghost could follow the couple and bring bad luck means that almost no one chooses these dates to get married. This is why it is rare to see celebrations, and many temples directly advise against any ceremonies. Another surprising taboo or fear during this month is not moving house. Moving house during the ghost month is considered an open invitation for a spirit to move in with you. So the move is postponed. The boxes are stacked without being moved. And real estate agents know that this month is simply the worst for closing deals. The Hungry Ghost Month is, for Taiwanese people, a symbolic coexistence between the living and the dead. A time when permission is sought, respect is shown, and caution is exercised. an annual reminder that the afterlife is not as far away as it seems, that even in modernity, among skyscrapers and neon lights, there are invisible forces that deserve to be heard. During this month, even innocent activities such as whistling at night are prohibited or discouraged, as it is believed that the sound attracts curious spirits. Clothes should not be dried in the dark either, because ghosts could try on the clothes and leave negative energies in them. Nor should coins be picked up from the ground, as they could be traps left as offerings to the dead. Although coins on the ground or clothes hanging at night may bring to mind restless spirits, the truth is that in Taiwan, sometimes the living are more surprising than the dead. This is especially true when you discover their vending machines, authentic modern treasure chests that sell almost anything imaginable. And we're not just talking about drinks or candy, but products that, for many travelers, border on the unbelievable. One of the most striking are the machines that sell sealed women's underwear, located mainly in busy urban areas, near subway stations and shopping districts. For some, it's just merchandise. For others, it's an eccentricity typical of a culture where technology and everyday life merge in unexpected ways. What may seem strange to a visitor is just another practical way for many locals to quickly buy what they need. But this is only the beginning. In night markets and near coastal areas, you can find machines selling live shrimp, ready to cook at home or even to use in certain traditional games where participants try to catch them with small hooks. Seeing these illuminated machines in the middle of the street, with the animals moving inside, leaves more than one tourist speechless. There are also vending machines that offer fresh crabs, traditional-style black-boiled eggs, beauty masks, collectible figures, and even small bottles with messages to find love. Some of these machines are located near temples or tourist sites, like a nod between the spiritual and the mundane. Others are hidden in alleys that look like something out of a futuristic movie. Thinking about finding love, as could not be otherwise in this country full of myths, temples, and ghosts, one of the most eccentric and fascinating traditions on the planet takes place: ghost marriage. A custom that, although it has its roots in ancient China, has acquired its own nuances in Taiwan, deeply emotional and loaded with symbolism. In Taiwan, love does not end with life, and for many, death does not prevent two souls from being united either. Ghost marriage is a ceremony in which a deceased person is married to another soul, living or dead, so that they do not remain alone in the afterlife. In Taiwanese tradition, this act is not done out of mere superstition, but out of a mixture of respect, destiny, and family duty. It is believed that a lonely spirit may feel abandoned, wander restlessly, or even bring bad luck to the living. By marrying them, they are offered companionship, peace, and a symbolic place within the family. Sometimes these ceremonies are performed between two deceased people, especially if both died young or without a partner. But what is most striking is when the family arranges a marriage between a deceased person and a living person. In these cases, the living individual agrees to become a spiritual husband or spiritual wife, a position fraught with responsibility that is taken extremely seriously here. This union does not involve cohabitation, but rather a symbolic bond. The spirit receives offerings, attention, and a place in family rituals. The process can begin in surprising ways. In some cases, the family of the deceased places an ad in a local newspaper or consults a temple to find a suitable partner. They may also perform rituals to ask the spirit if it accepts the proposed person. The ceremony itself is held in front of the altar, using a doll or symbolic figure representing the deceased. Offerings are exchanged, spiritual papers are burned, and a bond is established that, according to belief, will accompany the soul on its new journey. Although this custom also exists in certain regions of mainland China, in Taiwan, it has endured in a more visible and emotional form. Even today, there are still cases, especially in rural communities or very traditional families, where ghost marriages are not considered strange, but rather a gesture of affection and responsibility towards those who are no longer with us. It is a way of ensuring that, Even in death, no one is condemned to wander alone in the darkness. This is a very different reality from another celebration associated with death that takes place in this fascinating country. The famous electric flower cars, trucks with lights where sensual dancers wearing very little clothing perform to attract spirits and give energy to the deceased. These floats, illuminated with colored neon lights and accompanied by loud music, travel through certain areas of Taiwan during funerals and processions. They are trucks adapted with a small stage at the back, where dancers perform, combining eye-catching movements with a show designed to bid farewell to the deceased with energy, light, and vitality. At first glance to a foreign visitor, it may seem like a surprising contrast, a funeral accompanied by music, bright lights, scantily clad women, and sensual dancing. But in the context of Taiwanese tradition, this spectacle has a deeply symbolic meaning. The dancers are not there to provoke, but to attract the attention of the spirits, brighten the deceased's journey, and prevent the atmosphere from becoming overly sad. It is believed that life should be celebrated even on the final journey. The dancers often wear colorful costumes and sometimes very little clothing, but their role is ritualistic, not merely aesthetic. Their movements seek to energize the deceased, create a vibrant atmosphere, and remind the community that the person who has passed away lived a life full of emotions, diversity, and nuance. In some areas, this bright energy is believed to help the spirit move on without getting caught up among the living. The procession of these floats usually begins at the home of the deceased, or in the neighborhood where they lived, and then moves to the site of the final ceremony. Along the way, neighbors and onlookers come out to watch the spectacle. This is not a secret or strange event, but a public tradition rooted in several rural communities in Taiwan, especially in the south of the island, where it is believed that the livelier the funeral, the more protected the spirit of the deceased will be. In addition to the dancers, some floats include traditional elements, figures of guardian gods, digital screens with farewell messages, ritual music, and offerings to the spirits. This blend of modernity and spirituality defines the essence of Taiwan, a place where the old never completely disappears and where the modern takes on unexpected forms to coexist with the sacred. For many Taiwanese, these celebrations represent a balance between respect and expression. Funerals are not seen only as a time of mourning, but as an opportunity to release tensions, to thank the deceased for their time in the world, and to accompany them with strength on their departure. With all this in mind, we would like to ask you, what do you think of ghost marriages or these sensual dances on floats to bid farewell to the deceased? Would you dare to swim or get married during the month of hungry ghosts? Or do you know of similar customs in your country or other parts of the world? Pause the video and leave us your comments. Doing so is the best way to support us, so we can continue working every week and bring you videos as interesting as this one. Thank you. Returning to the topic of extraordinary funerals, there is another reality that is less well known here, as it occurs in the most intimate sphere of some Taiwanese families. Known as the empty coffin, it is a silent, discreet custom, laden with spiritual meaning that rarely appears in travel guides or documentaries, but which forms part of the culture of this country, especially with the desire to protect the living from death. During certain funerals, especially in rural areas or in families with very traditional beliefs, a small coffin made of paper or light wood is prepared and remains empty. Inside, a straw doll or a symbolic handmade figure is placed. This small spiritual substitute represents a family member who is still alive, but whom they wish to protect. It is believed that when death takes someone away, their spirit may feel lonely or seek company among their own relatives. To avoid this possibility, the straw doll acts as a kind of guardian, a symbolic companion that distracts the spirit of the deceased and prevents it from taking another family member with it. It is a precautionary measure born of love and an ancestral fear of losing more loved ones in a short period of time. In this ritual, it is not the object that is important, but the loving gesture behind it. The empty coffin is discreetly placed next to the main coffin or on a nearby table, decorated with simple fabrics, small amulets, or strips of red paper symbolizing protection. It is not publicly announced or mentioned during the ceremony. Many of those in attendance may be completely unaware of its presence. It is a silent act known only to the immediate family and performed with deep respect for the spirit that is embarking on its journey. At the end of the funeral, this small coffin is usually burned along with other ritual offerings. The flames send the doll to the spiritual world, fulfilling its mission of accompaniment. And with that last spark, the family feels that they have done everything possible to ensure that their loved one can say goodbye without taking any other lives with them. It is a unique blend of love, fear, tradition, and protection that shows once again how in Taiwan the bond between the living and the dead is a bridge that is never broken. But not everything in Taiwan is related to the afterlife. As you will now see, this country is so full of life and creativity that it is home to some of the strangest themed cafes on the planet. Trains reel mermaids, and even has ghost towns that have been repopulated by cats. What you are about to discover will show you that, on this island, reality can be as surprising as fantasy. In Taiwan, imagination knows no bounds, which is why cafes are not just places to drink tea or coffee, but authentic immersive experiences that can be delicate, extravagant, or downright surreal. A perfect example are the cafes where, while you sip your drink, dozens of small fish swim around you and gently nibble your feet. It's a traditional treatment adapted to modern leisure. Sit in an armchair, put your feet in a small fish tank embedded in the table, and let the fish remove dead skin while you relax. And if that seems strange enough, in Taiwan there are also cafes where customers literally immerse themselves in the experience. They sit in themed bathtubs or hot tubs while enjoying their coffee or tea. Some bathtubs are filled with colorful balls, others with artificial foam, and others recreate ancient Japanese baths. But what's most surprising is that in certain establishments, the bathtubs are so small that visitors must share space with a stranger. There, two people who have never met before may end up sitting shoulder to shoulder, their legs brushing against each other due to lack of space, while sharing drinks and conversation in an atmosphere as intimate as it is surreal. In these cafes, proximity has no inappropriate connotations. It is part of the concept, a social game that seeks to break the routine and create unexpected situations. The result is that a simple coffee can become an unforgettable experience where surprise, amusing discomfort, and spontaneity come together in the same moment. But the eccentricity does not end there. There are cafes decorated like hospitals, with stretchers converted into tables and syringes filled with juice. Cafes where all the seats are porcelain toilets and drinks are served in containers that mimic small toilets. And even places inspired by prisons, where customers sit in small cells decorated with bars and graffiti. As you can see, this country has become a cultural laboratory where the craziest ideas can become real businesses. Another fascinating and unique phenomenon in Taiwan is called mermaiding, or the art of training like real mermaids. This sport emerged in the United States and Australia, but found a particularly fertile home in Taiwan, becoming one of the leading countries in this curious discipline. In the swimming pools of Taipei, Kaohsiung, and Taichung, women, and also some men, train daily dressed in mermaid tails made of silicone or special fabrics. They submerge themselves for long periods, practice apnea, synchronize undulating movements, and learn to move underwater with the elegance of a sea creature. Here, mermaiding is not just a fad, it is a serious sport, with certified instructors, specialized academies, and official competitions. The origin of this fascination comes in part from cinema and pop culture, but also from the Taiwanese people's deep relationship with the sea. For generations, the island has lived facing the ocean, and this discipline turns that connection into a performing art. Taiwanese mermaids participate in aquatic shows, professional photo shoots, and even cultural performances at aquariums and tourist events. and for many young people they symbolize freedom, fantasy, and beauty in motion. And if anything reflects the surprising spirit of Taiwan, it is the story of Hutong, also known worldwide as the Cat Village. This village was once a thriving mining town, but after the mines closed, it fell into disrepair. The houses were empty, the streets were silent, and the place seemed doomed to disappear. Until, unexpectedly, cats arrived and managed to rescue this village from becoming a ghost town. Dozens of them appeared in the streets, settled on the rooftops, and began to reproduce. Some residents who still lived there began to care for them, providing food and makeshift shelters. Little by little, the cats became the new inhabitants of the village, and also its salvation. Hutong began to receive visitors attracted by the idea of a cat village lost in the mountains. The locals adapted the place with walkways, decorated booths, cat murals, and themed shops. Today, Hutong is a famous tourist destination where cats reign in absolute tranquility. They stroll across bridges, sleep on benches, and pose as if they know it for the cameras of travelers. For those who visit, it seems like a fairy tale, a village that died and was reborn thanks to an army of small animals that, without knowing it, brought life back to its streets and businesses. It's one of those stories that could only happen in a country as full of contrasts and everyday magic as Taiwan. If you've made it this far, you're probably interested in knowing how to get there and make the most of this country, or when to visit during the month of the Hungry Ghosts. That's why we at Uncensored World have done our research and now bring you the best information to help you do just that. To get to Taiwan, the usual route is to fly to its capital, Taipei, where the most important international airport is located. From North America, South America, or Europe, you will find connections with a stopover in either Japan, South Korea, Hong Kong, or a city in Southeast Asia. As for visas, the good news is that for many countries, including the United States, Canada, many in Europe, and much of Latin America, you don't need a visa for short stays, up to 90 days for example, as long as your passport is in order. As for the cost of living, it's not cheap, but it's not as extreme as some large Asian cities. For example, in Taipei, the average cost of a hotel per night is around $60 for mid-range accommodation. For a meal at a local street market or 2 simple dishes plus drinks for 2 people, the price can be around $20 to $30, depending on the neighborhood and the type of food. Public transportation is efficient, and the cost for an urban trip can be just a few dollars. Taiwan is a very safe country for travelers. Low crime rates, good infrastructure, access to modern healthcare in the city, and well-lit streets in general. Some recommendations: always carry a copy of your passport. Make sure you have travel insurance. Respect customs in temples. Appropriate clothing. Silence, no littering. And consider natural risks. Due to its seismic location, it is useful to have a basic emergency plan for earthquakes or typhoons. Also, when visiting during the month of ghosts, keep in mind that certain areas may have fewer moving services or major changes, as you now know, due to local beliefs. During this month, it is best not to whistle at night to respect their beliefs and, who knows, perhaps to avoid attracting evil spirits, as they believe. If you are interested in this more mysterious side of Taiwan, the month of Hungry Ghost Month is celebrated in the 7th month of the lunar calendar. To understand it from a Western perspective, you have to imagine that this month does not coincide with any fixed month of the Gregorian calendar, which is used in Europe and America. Instead, it is based on the traditional lunar calendar, which changes every year, just like the date of Easter or Chinese New Year. The so-called 7th lunar month usually falls between the end of July and the end of August, depending on the year. So, for a Western traveler, it could be said to be the ghost month of summer. During this period, according to belief, the gates of the underworld open and spirits temporarily return to the world of the living. For visitors, this month completely transforms the atmosphere of the country. Altars appear in the streets, shops leave offerings outside, night markets set up tables laden with food for the spirits, and temples hold rituals with music, incense, and traditional parades. It's like experiencing a combination of Halloween, the Mexican Day of the Dead, and an ancient religious festival, but with very clear rules that everyone respects. At Uncensored World, we hope this video has helped you discover Taiwan, which, as you've seen, is one of the most fascinating and surprising places on the planet. If so, don't hesitate to leave us a like and a comment. It's the best way to support us so we can continue creating fascinating content like this every week. And if you want to continue exploring surprising realities, don't miss the latest video we've uploaded, or other impressive videos such as the one on Hong Kong and its famous cage homes, which you can find on our channel. Click on it. You're going to enjoy it.